Welcome back, everybody, to the second part of the task that we flew on day one of the 2018 two-seater nationals that were flown out of Husbands, Bosworth, in the best weather that the pundits said had been seen for about a quarter of a century, or in this century, in the UK. And part one, we flew Chatteris, then to Oxford East, about nearly 200k, I think it was, for that bit of a total task that is 346k. And because it was that long, I didn't really want to do it in one go. You know, just pilot fatigue on the one hand in VR, and if all the recording and things fails, it's an awful lot of talking and flying to have done. Or to lose it all, because I want to capture it all for doing the YouTube video. So what we did was we set the finish at Oxford East, and we finished at, I can't quite remember the exact height, but it was a good height, like it would have been on task, let's say 4,000 feet or something like that. And then we have set a part two task that uses an aerial start here at a similar height. We've got 4,300 feet. And we will do the bit to, I think it's Norman Cross and then Husbos, for a total of a little over 150k, so a little bit short of this one, and we'll crack on. The only thing is that on the actual day in 2018, coming out of Oxford East on the next bit, we ran into a poorer bit of sky, and we were a little bit slow to realise the sky was getting poorer, and we let ourselves get a bit low, thinking we'd pick up a climb easily, and we didn't. But we did find a climb, and we scratched away from a relatively low height. Can't remember the exact height, but it was lowish, might be 1,500 feet or something like that. And it took a long time to get back up, and that really slugged our speed on that day, because we were doing quite well up till then. I flew about a third to a half of the task on the first half, but by this time Andy was well and truly flying. He'd been flying from some time on the previous leg down to this turning point. And it's just as well, really, because there's no way I would have got us out of the mess, I think, when we hit the low point. So what I've tried to do on this task in Condor 3, because in Condor 3 you can set weather zones, I've tried to set somewhere along this leg an area of quite poor lift. So I don't know how it's going to go, whether I will survive the poor lift or get knocked out of the sky, I don't know. And you might never even see this video if I do get knocked out of the sky, because I'll think to myself, what was the point of that? I'll have to make life a little easier on myself and do it again so that we can get the task finished, because in real life we did finish the task in 2018. So anyway, without more ado, I can't think of anything else much to say. Oh, that's interesting. Perhaps it's because I've paused the game, but the controls don't seem to be working. So that. Oh yeah, no, it's because I was on pause. Right, okay. So things are now live. So we just hit the start key to go. And in 3 seconds we'll be starting, and then away we go. And of course, it'd be quite interesting as well, because whereas I had got, I don't particularly recognise this this display either. We don't seem to have our LX display on now. I don't know why it's not loaded, but we're going to have to fly without it, I suppose, which is going to be interesting, because I now have no idea of how to fly this task. Let's get flying anyway, and we'll work it out as we go along. No, I really needed this flight data. I'm used to the LX now. I've got different screens, but they aren't the LX that I'm new, so it's not even showing the stars. I think we're going to have to abandon this, unfortunately. Okay, so we're back. I've had to relaunch the task and use the standard Navaid, because for some reason the LX9070 isn't loading properly, but I think this will be okay to get this task done, and we shall look into what the technical bug might be after I've done this flight. I did do a patch from Condor 3.0 to Condor 3.0.3 or something, I think it is, just a little update. Whether that has thrown it out or not, I don't know. But we'll find out after this flight. So anyway, I won't do the preamble again, because you've already got that. So let's click start, and off we'll go. So yeah, we're already clear to start if we want to start. So we'll just crack on. Let's get the speed on. And hope this Navaid is something I can settle with. I hope I will, because it looks pretty simple actually in many ways. I'm not quite sure I really take a great advantage of the suppose we shouldn't be racing at this point, we should just be tiptoeing to the edge of the starting zone. But we're about the right equivalent height for restarting the task on part 2. I think it's a similar height to what we arrived at when we ended part 1. Right, okay, so I think this one just starts anyway by default, so I don't have to do anything magic. No. Right, okay, so let's crack on with it. I no longer have things like course to steer as well showing on the screen, so I should just have to kind of use the blue line and I don't think there is a kind of required 87. Okay, so required 87, so I've got to look up and down that figure, I suppose. Have I? Is that what we need? Required 87 sounds a bit odd. Anyway, don't worry about that. We'll just yeah, because I don't think that there's only one screen with this sat nav, isn't there? Yeah, we'll just have to kind of we'll have to do our best. Right now I seem to be steering 030 to be more or less okay for it. So we're down to 37, so this cloud up ahead I think I'd like to take. Bearing in mind we might be due to hit some poor weather quite soon. If I'm quiet, it's because I'm trying to understand what useful information I might have on this this Navaid. Where's my speed? Where's my distance to the turning point? I don't seem to see anything like that. Telling me a lot of useful stuff, really, is it? Oh, hang on, what's this? Distance 52. That's showing it in nautical miles now, just to cause extra confusion. Not to worry. See how this goes. This might end up being an aborted attempt, to be honest, but we'll give it a go. So right now, getting our bearings. I've no idea where we are. It's not telling us a huge amount. So if I can get a half decent climb, I'd like to take it. Circling yet? Have we already hit the poor weather zone? We could have done. In which case I think we're going to have some fun, because there's nothing much then to circle in, and I'm going to have to think very carefully about finding my next cloud, aren't I? There's no lift here. Okay, in we go, because we need this. Speed back a bit, but of course in doing that you lose the centering, so you've got to kind of recenter. speed back? Or is it not even worth it? Come on, it just keeps going back to 60 knots whatever I do. I wouldn't be having this problem in a real plane. We're climbing nice anyway, so mustn't fuss too much. I'm a bit distracted by not having my LX9070 here to look at. So we've got an unfamiliar Navaid. Come on, get recentered. Of course, I'm not settled here, you know. I mean, if I'd done the task in one go, I'd have been kind of in the zone while I was taking this thermal, but I'm just settling back into flying. But that's just excuses. Just got to keep doing it. Trying to trim out this thing on the desktop joystick is a real nightmare. It really is. It's just not like flying a real glider. Very difficult trying to get this thing just trimmed for speed. Spend a lot more time looking at the ASI, I think, than you'd really have to in a real glider. And in the end, as I say, it so easily seems to go around better at 60 knots, but you wouldn't be flying this slowly in a real glider, I don't think. I think you would be more back at 55, 50 knots, even with this water ballast and two pilots. Anyway, we're going up all right, so I'm not going to sweat it, you know. We are where we find ourselves. Good steady climb. And I will take this as high as I can, really, because I might even go into cloud, because you know, I want to finish this task at the end of the day. It'd be interesting to go across some poor sky, but I'd like to get across it, not land out. Any information on where we are? Okay, so Bista's behind us at the moment. We must be quite near Western on the Green, where I used to fly. So is that Bista there? And if that's Bista there, pay attention to the flying. Can't immediately spot Western moment, but then of course I'm supposed to be paying attention to the flying. That's Bista there. Western, I think there might be Western there, I can just about see, yeah. Okay, let's get on the instruments if we're going to go higher than this. Well, strictly speaking, when you're in instruments, there's no point looking out the cockpit. We're not really fully in cloud, so it's quite interesting that we're still doing all right for lift, but but the cloud is kind of disappearing around us. I think we're getting to the point where we might as well straighten up on track and carry on forever this nonsense. Oh, let's give it a bit longer just for fun. We're having fun here. Yeah, no, we'll straighten up on this one. Okay, now there's a little red line at the top pointer that moves. That seems to be what's telling me where to fly to, so that's useful. Good. Right, so we're nice and high. Vista is at about our 11 o'clock. Maybe that's Vista there. Yeah, I think I can see Western underneath those clouds there, just on the other side of the M40. I think that's probably Western. Not making out terribly well, but I think it probably is. So let's get our speed on and start doing our job. Kind of fun being above the cloud base, isn't it? So do I go that way to make the pointer happy? No, I have to go the other way. Right, okay. Of course, with the blue line, the track line, it tells you that, doesn't it really? Just getting used to it all. Right. Now, let's see if we can set our McCready. I have to lift my helmet for a second doing this, and the plane has to fly itself, so forgive me if there's noise. Right, okay, so now there is another red line. And I'm not sure what that's telling me. It's something to do with my speed to fly, but I don't know quite what's the right position for it. Not to worry, we're doing 90 knots, that's a pretty kind of steady average. And of course, this is the point where we might be heading through the weak weather zone, or about heading to it, so we need to bear that in mind as well. Of course, it's a little unfair because on the day we didn't really quite know what was ahead of us in the same way. But there might be a case for saying don't fly too fast. We're going for distance, so let's come back to 80 knots, shall we? Push our luck. But we'll head for this cloud ahead and see, keep sniffing the lift, you know. Again, as you know, I like to stay high anyway, but I'm certainly going to try and stay high today if I can. So as long as it isn't appalling, if I can get a little bit of lift under this cloud and top up, I'll take it. Just trying to check out my my map info. And that speed. Back in the cockpit a bit. That's the distance. It might be. I think the first turning point was about 100k away or something like that, and then then after that was a 50k to do. So that would kind of make sense. Clouds ahead, trying to decide what I do and don't like about them. And strictly speaking, we want to be pointing just a tad that way, but let's see what we've got. I'm trying to go pretty much at best glide, which with water ballasting would, well, I'm a little faster than best glide, but not much. Good vertical development, this cloud, whether we should make a decision to kind of head under its main mass and see what it gives us. Just going to do my usual trick of lifting my visor a second to check what else we're capturing. We are. Very nervous in case I've forgotten to put the screen capture on and do all this flight commentary and things and I haven't recorded anything. That wouldn't please me at all. So what are we going to find under here? Good looking clouds up ahead, isn't there? So wherever this weather zone is, it looks as though we're a bit of a way off from it. But even so, if it's at all good looking, let's just take a turn and just see, shall we? Come back to 50 knots. Can I hold it back at 50 knots? No, not very interesting. We're just going to lose time with this, I think, if we don't connect with something quickly. Doesn't feel strong, does it? But are we already in the zone where the lift is not so strong? This is the thing. So I'm in sniffing mode here. I'm not in kind of racing on mode because I want to know what's going on. Okay, we were off to the side of it with the lift, so now we're more centered, aren't we? I'm going to try and hold the plane back to sort of 50-55 knots if I can. But you know, it's better just to do it by holding back pressure on the stick because the trimmer doesn't really deliver anything very useful. Not a great climb. Getting a bit stronger. Centering a bit better. See, you know, as long as the lift is within parameters, why not just take it and stay high? You've got to take something like this sooner or later. And of course, this cloud has got good vertical development. You probably could do quite a serious cloud climb here, but I think that probably would be overly cheating. Mind you, I'm tempted to do a bit. So onto the instruments we go. Because we're properly in cloud this time. Because this is the thing, it's no good flying in cloud instruments if you can't still manage to recenter the lift. Or at least do half a decent job on it. I'm not even bothering with the altimeter. Just watching the artificial horizon and the speed like a hawk. Maybe glancing occasionally at the track line. You see a little bit of... And I'm trying to hold it back to 50 knots. Which I don't want it much slower then because this plane will stall out if I do. Let's have some fun, shall we? Doing quite well here. Climbing very well in this cloud. It's got good vertical development and we're grabbing it. This is huge fun. Not at all like you should be doing on the real task at all, but hey, you know, I've got to have some fun, and it makes it more entertaining for you visually as well if you happen to watch, if you stayed with the video this long. Has a bit of variety, doesn't it? Because if all you do is slavishly repeat what happened on the real day, it can get a bit dull, really. This is a real cloud climb, this one, isn't it? It did look like a cloud with good vertical development, so quite interesting. Now, am I going to lose the lift? You notice I'm losing control of the speed a little bit, losing finesse. I've got it unsettled and I've got to get it settled back. And this might be the point where you say to yourself, well, if you're not going to fly it that well, you might as well come out of it. I've obviously lost the center of the lift, so I've got to recenter. Let's try and recenter. I've either lost it or else the lift is dying down, but either way I think probably time to give it up. Unless I magically find something again. Give it up and get on our way. Oh, hang on. No. Let's get okay, we'll level up around here. We'll get the speed on. Right, we're bursting out of the cloud, that's quite good. Okay, so along we go. So 7,500. So I'm being a real cowardly custard here because, you know, in anticipation of meeting a not good weather zone, I've done a cloud climb to get some height on. So my conscience is clear, we've got a job to do. And in the real world time, it's not that far at my lunchtime, so I really would like to get this task finished and be able to go and have my sandwich. So I'm still going to stick to about 18 knots, I think, for the moment, just so I can get a better feel for what this weather zone is and whether I'm in it or whether I've yet to hit it. I haven't seen anything hugely different about the look of the clouds or the sky, and we've had good climbs, so I don't know what's going on there. All day, I should say. So what? So that's Bletchley and Milton Keynes. Is it there? And yeah, that's a big urban area there. At 1 o'clock is Bletchley, Milton Keynes. So this is interesting because we will come out these clouds above cloud base and go into the side of them, which is an absolute no-no in real life because you just don't do things like that. You're allowed to climb. Well, I'm going by my 30-year-old memory. You're allowed to cloud climb in the UK if you go in from below and you call up before you go in on something like 130.1 to give you a position and intention. Yeah, again, you see good vertical developments in these clouds, isn't there? But you can't be going in at the side because you don't know what's in there. You know, if you go in from below, at least anything around there knows there might be something coming up in the cloud. And most of them will be, well, if they're going in a cloud at all through the side, they've got to be on IFR and under air traffic control and all that kind of thingy. I'm not going to get too drawn into this because I'm not a great expert on the rules and regulations of flying. I was a fair weather VFR glider pilot. Didn't get involved with this kind of thing too much. I tiptoed into cloud a couple of times, but nothing much. Well, not solo anyway. I did with experienced instructor. So now again, I'm going to have to just go onto instruments just so I can, you know, keep an eye on things. And there's that lovely lift, but I'm not going to take it. I'll just take what there is in it. Good lift. I'm slowing up a little bit. On again. Okay. Side of that one, and by the time we get to the next one we'll probably be below cloud base, so we should be alright. So I've not seen any particularly duff weather yet, but you know, famous last words and all that. Right, we'll go back up to 90 knots for now and see how we get on. For as much as I ever did cross countries in my youth, I say youth, I didn't start climbing until 8:40, but this was kind of my stomping ground really. I flew out of Western on the Green and did my silver badge across to Bedford somewhere over there, so didn't come far from places like Milton Keynes. So we'll go for this mass ahead of us here. Still being just a little bit cautious on speed because I'm not quite sure what kind of sky I'm going to meet up ahead. Should I take a cloud climb here? Well, let's perhaps see what we can see beyond this cloud. If we can't see anything much beyond this cloud, at the moment it's hard to tell because I think Condor has this kind of limitation on the the quality of the sky rendering detail, and it looks hazy up here, doesn't it, like a day that's not got best visibility. But we are near to cloud base, so the visibility ahead will have gone off anyway. Now incidentally, I mean, isn't Condor fantastic like this because it replicates all these things that we would find in real life. Oh yeah, there's more clouds beyond it, isn't there? But even so, if the lift's good, we can take a few turns, perhaps go into cloud a bit. No point in making life overly hard on ourselves. Good old Milton Keynes here. It's good and dark, doesn't it, underneath this one? My mate Andy did his gold height in a K6E out of Western on the Green, taking a cloud climb to whatever you need for gold height, something over 12,000 feet, isn't it? Came out with ice on the wings and stuff and things, and of course this fantastic landscape with all these cloud pillars around him. He's way above cloud base, of course. Yeah, not finding anything here, are we? Not at the moment. We'll just press on in the absence of finding something. Keep our fingers crossed, but I think by the time we get to the next lot, we should be definitely thinking a bit more carefully. It's a good sized gap here, isn't it? See, some people might say, well, why don't you squirt around to the right and sort of stay with the clouds, stay with the energy, and they might be right. But I've got 5.5 at the moment, and I'm trying to go along at a kind of a fairly min sync. So I'm hoping that I can just stay on track and pick up something with these things. I mean, there's one ever so slightly left of the nose, isn't it, that might be better to head for. Or there's something very slightly to the right of the nose. Perhaps we should just head under that. You know, that's not too far out of the way, is it? Let's see. Yeah, let's. So it's not got huge vertical development or anything, but it's trying to tell us this lift here. I don't know what that's all about. Let's get under this to see what we get. Left and right for imaginary planes that won't be there. Okay, in we go. Get centered. Get the speed back. Well, I don't know where the weak weather zone is, but at the moment the climbs are as good as they've ever been. Onto instruments, I think. Good climb, 7 knots. If you stay centered. Lost it, haven't I? I've managed to lose that lift, and I'm very near the stall, going too slowly. Okay, in we go, but we're very slow. Very slow. We need to do better on our speed control here. Centering comes second after just keeping good control of the aeroplane, really. But of course it's challenging because you're only in this cloud because you actually want to get good lift out of it. So you're always being tempted towards being distracted by trying to center rather than anything else. And we're doing all right at the moment. Slowly dropping off, isn't it? As though, like last time, maybe it's sort of saying that things do die off at around 7,500. Watch that speed. Can we make 8,000? Interesting to see. I think we might need to call it a day on this turn, really. We don't want to be wasting our time in this cloud. I'm just feeling my way around it in case there's better stuff that I've come out of. Suckered in here. Right, okay, watch that speed. Don't worry about your heading as much as your speed at the moment. Trim it forward again. Trim it forward. I mean, on instruments the trim does matter more because it's what the plane will naturally tend to want to go to. Oops. Control. Right, okay, so that's 7.6 or something, so we're good and high, way above the clouds again. This is rather good fun, you know, from a visual point of view, so I'm quite pleased to do this. So again, we should be whacking through clouds. Going around the side of them, maybe. I don't know what the heading says. So I'm going to let it go to 90 knots for the moment and just crack on, and I don't know where this bad weather bit was because I think we must be past it by now. So whatever it was, it didn't amount to much. Anyway, we had a lot of fun going through clouds, or doing cloud climbs I should say, just to kind of get high and try and cheat the bad weather, but you know, let's wait and see, it may still be ahead. Can't remember quite where I located it. Whoops. That was an interesting moment. Went in a cloud and I thought the game had frozen. I don't know why, because you can get little freezing moments in VR, but no, I had just completely lost all my visual references and imagined that the world had stopped. Of course it hadn't. The artificial horizon was telling me the plane was starting to bank over to the right, to starboard. So let's just make a correction there and get on our way again. Bit of a surreal moment. So we're counting down the miles okay to this turning point. Frustrating, this Navaid doesn't even give me the name of the turning point, does it? Whoops, the speed's up to 100 knots there, sorry about that. Yeah, no, can't get the information on the turning point's name from this. I mean, the very simple Navaid in Condor 2 was perfectly nice, I thought, actually. But it's nice to be able to use a real-world Navaid like the LX9070, which I would never get to use otherwise. Watch your speed. I'm being a bit careless with my speed control here. Yeah, hold on a sec. This is fun, isn't it? Skimming right by the edge of clouds. I mean, you know, it's pretty real-world, realistic, really, considering what it's got to do with all this generation of wisps and bits and bobs. You can see the pixelation as you go by, but hey, not worrying about that. Not paying enough attention to the flying, really. Right, let's try and do a bit better with our speed control and our heading, and also looking ahead to see what we're going to do. This is quite a big bit of nothingness, isn't it? As though if you were lower down, you might get well and truly caught out. But hopefully I'm not that kind of low down, and I can sort of scoot through the stuff. But having said that, I'm inclined to take a climb when I can get one, rather than imagine there's one up ahead, because that's what caught us out on that day. We just thought there'd be another one up ahead, and we weren't stopping for stuff that was not good enough, till we realised that we should have stopped for something that wasn't quite good enough by our standards, but would have been better with hindsight to climb in. So there's stuff over the nose here, isn't there? That's right on track. Let's see what it gives. 5.9 down to 5.9. So interestingly, I'm not seeing the same vertical development in these clouds. Not quite. At least I don't think so. I'm a little bit of a way off, so perhaps they'll look tall when I get there, but they don't look quite the same as some of the ones. Yeah, that's got better vertical development. That's good over there. One over there. I wonder if this is just Condor's generation of different things. Sorry, I'm not watching my speed enough. When I flew with people like Chris Gill and Andy Parrish, I mean, they were rock steady on their speed control. I mean, they didn't, you know, they knew what speed they tend to go at, and they stayed on it at all times. Whereas I tend to sort of wander a bit. And yeah, slightly in my defence, as I say, the ability to trim out and get the behaviour of the joystick to sort of settle down, it's not quite the same as a real glider, so it is always wanting to wander off on speed very easily. Having said that, so the real gliders, okay, now I get close to this cloud, it does seem to have some quite good vertical development, doesn't it? Whether it's acquired it since I last looked at it, I'm not sure, because I haven't been studying it in great detail. So here's some lift in the blue. Doesn't amount to much, and I'm not stopping for it, but you wonder what it is. What's that turn over there? That looks like Wellingborough. Is that Wellingborough up ahead? I have to say, actually, and then Sywell, yeah, I have to say, the place names and things on this map are rather better than the LX9070, but hey-oh, what can you say? So I'll take a climb here if there is a decent one. Don't want to be low. Don't know what weather lies ahead. And again, as I say, with the limit of visibility in Condor 3, I can't read the sky beyond these clouds, really. So, you know, that limits my... some are starting to appear, aren't they, further ahead? So there are other things, I shouldn't be panicking too much. Assuming, of course, that the clouds are reliable indicators of lift. They aren't always. Let's go around to the left this time, just for the practice. Never mind, it might be the wrong way to turn. Probably is. I'll get set up in a second. runway and airfield is there. Not sure. Let's have a look. Leave the centre. Bedford. Must be RAE Bedford. Right, let's concentrate on the flying. Not getting a great climb here, are we really? So unless I can centre it better than this and really get it working. No, let's just head off on track. We don't need this. So right, that's Bedford there. And that means that Sackville Farm, which I think I might just about be able to make out actually, possibly, where I did my silver distance to from Western on the Green, is just over there, sort of at about our sort of 3 o'clock position, a little bit ahead of the starboard wingtip, and out a few miles from Cardington. Could kind of dolphin a bit, couldn't we really? Let's go round in this. That's stunning. Oh dear. Doing this with a bit of cloud flying practice, really. Straighten up in a second and carry on. Don't want to get too silly with it, but it's nice to practice a little bit of going out of cloud, especially when you know, you're almost at cloud base. You turn in tight, and before you know it, even on your first turn, you're starting to sprint into cloud. So you've got to quickly transition from doing it visually to doing it on instruments. So it's just good practice, and I'm sure the pundits will be laughing at me stupid if they've got this far into watching this video. But hey, you know, keeps an old man happy and gives me some practice. Right, I think we'll go for flying with some confidence now, really. I don't know where the bad weather was, but I think we must be through it by now, well and truly. So, you know, do I very slightly deviate under this one? I think I might. Going rather fast here. I'm burning up behind a bit. In hope of there being good lift under these clouds. I'm going at 95 knots at the moment, so I'm being... Now, I keep seeing this patch of water that's not like any other patch of water. Is that Grapham water or something? What could that be? There it is, but it doesn't give it a name, does it? I think it might be, though. It's like a favourite turning point for glider pilots, especially in the Oxford Gliding Club, I think. If we were doing a 300k, they'd go down to somewhere like Salisbury or something, or Winchester, and then come up and go to Grapham Water, and then back to Western. And that would kind of do them. I don't know about this cloud. It's got a slightly kind of not tightly bunched look about it, isn't it? But let's wait and see. Yeah, I think it's decaying. Yeah, it's a dying cloud. So then we need to think carefully about where we're going next. 5,000 feet, which is plenty on the face of it, but you know, if we're going into dodgy weather, no, it's not worth turning in. Pull up a little bit and just see whether it's... let's get back on the case. So by the time we get to these ones, we'll definitely be wanting to think about a climb, I think, by my... Now you've got this little fella here. It looks as though he's developing nice, you might have a good climb, but you start doing this kind of thing and you're starting to wander off track quite a lot. Well, let's, should we do it just to sort of illustrate the point, perhaps? What are we for? Yeah, let's just do it just to illustrate the point. I mean, fine if we get a really good climb, but if we don't, we might sort of say, well, you know, you shouldn't be doing too much of this kind of thing because it's very much deviating from track. But I'm just curious, and you know, we're supposed to be having fun on this flight, not slavishly replicating what happened on the day. Let's see what we might get underneath it. There's all that stuff there, solar farms or something. So it's an okay climb. It's not a stunning climb, unless I can centre it better again. It probably gets stronger because it's a young cloud. Yeah, oh yeah, it's getting stronger. So, you know, you could say that depending on your height situation, yes, well, maybe it was the right thing to do to detour to this because it's a perfectly reasonable climb, if not one of your very best. It's pretty good actually, and getting better. I'm not even back, I'm still going around at 60, 65 knots as well, so yeah, probably actually quite a good decision to come to this fella. And especially if, you know, you were getting just a little bit low on height and you looked ahead and it was a way to go to the next one and you can't be quite sure if they're working. So yeah, oh yeah, it's getting stronger and stronger, isn't it? I can stay centered properly. Yeah, it's a pretty good climb actually. Good decision. Circling a bit too fast, but we're going up nicely, and you know, I've said this so many times before about the business of speed control, and this, I'm sure if I've practiced enough, I get better and better at it. This will do. I'd even go into cloud again, and it's just for the hell of it. It really is developing into a very nice climb, isn't it, this? I'm on instruments here, I'm not even looking out the window. in and out of cloud. I don't know if you're hearing this in the headset, but it keeps bleeping you when you go in and out of cloud. Not paid enough attention now, but we're kind of, I think we'll just come around on this one and head on. We've made our point well and truly here. So that was a very good deviation, that I think well worth it in this case. But again, the kind of thing you have to sort of think about. We seem to have recentered quite nicely again now, don't we? I have to carry on going round. Just for the hell of it, because I like the challenge. All on instrument assist, you might be in and out of cloud, but you can't keep toing and froing, that's no way, so I'm just staying on instruments. And I think we really will straighten up on this one, because we've had more than enough. We're at $7.5 grand, and I think we decided these things tended to kind of right, so on we go. So that was good, and I think we can sort of burn up the miles a bit, actually, to be honest, with that in mind. I wish I knew as well with this Navaid, there are ways in Condor 2, for instance, and I never got very used to it, but with this I don't even know how you do it, but there are ways of actually getting it to look at the destination height you will arrive at beyond your next turning point. I think it's saying at the moment, that DDH figure, I think it's saying at the moment we will arrive at our next turning point at about 4.7. But I would quite like to know whether we might even be on final glide for the finish. But the best I can do, I'm going a bit fast here, this is a bit silly. The best I can do is to just get to my next turning point, and then the final leg to the finish I'll get an idea. I can't believe we are, because I think it's still 50k. What am I doing? Whoa, 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 whoa. Not paying attention. Done this before. Go through cloud sideways and just lose my visual references. Forget, even there, you've got to stay on bloody instruments as you go through the buggers. Sorry about that, guys. Letting the side down there a bit. Just waffling too much and not focusing on the flying. So we're coming into the turning point. Let's have a little zoom the map out. Yeah, so you can see the next leg. What's that speed, for God's sake? All over the place here. I seem to do a much better job at controlling my speed in cloud than I do when it's dead easy. So yeah, about half the distance of the leg we've just done that we've still got to do. So let's start zooming in on that turning point in readiness. And of course I mustn't get so turning point fixated that I don't watch my absolute height, but it's still absolutely fine at the moment, but just got to be careful that you don't forget to fly the airplane just because there's a turning point coming up. Straight to the side of more cloud. This is obviously stuff you just don't do in real life. So in real life, you know, you'd have this situation, if you'd taken a cloud climb to 7.5, you'd either have to go round the other clouds or get underneath them, which has its own kind of penalty because you're gliding inefficiently. You might be going fast, but if you're not even on track, of course, that's not so useful. I don't know why I slowed up there. I think a lot of this is because I'm busy waffling rather than just flying. So yeah, interesting one really. I don't think on the actual real competitions, I don't know if cloud flying is not allowed, but I think it's probably not really what's done so much because there's so many gliders about. You've got to be very careful when you're in a competition situation, and you've certainly got to be. Everyone's got to be on top of their game. You've got to transmit your messages reliably about position and that you're doing it, and others have got to be able to listen and hear it. You know, so I don't know how that works because I don't know what frequency they're listening on, whether they keep one tuned to cloud. I really am not an experienced pilot, and certainly not involving stuff with radio. So I could always just pull up a bit, couldn't I? Just take a bit out of it. Carry on. a big conurbation ahead of us now. I don't know what that will be. It's not on the map yet, so I can't see it. I ought to know. I mean, if my geography was better, of course, all the proper pilots would know all this, like it was Northampton or something like that, but I don't know. We shall see. Peterborough. It is Peterborough. Wasting your time doing that. Yeah, big clouds again, aren't there? Some big heaps around. Don't think cloud was quite so abundant on the actual day. I probably got the relative humidity a bit higher, something like that. I might have my temperature set a bit low as well, because it was pretty hot that week, but I think I've been setting temperatures a lot of these tasks in the kind of the sort of low to mid 70s, but I think it could have been nearer up to kind of like 80 and that kind of thing on the actual task. So we're running down to the turning point here. Let's zoom in the map. Nose. I have to try and find out why the LX9070 isn't loading properly. I wonder whether it's something to do with the upgrade. I'll have to go on the Condor Soaring forum if I can't fix it and see if somebody else has got a clue. So we're down to 4.5 here. You know, I've been busy waffling and doing various things. Having said that, some quite good clouds around the turning point, aren't there? So we can, you know, we've got to go back that way, but one of these looks like it's very near the turning point. This one up ahead. How far have we got to go? Nautical mile, so yeah, it's a bit beyond this one. Let's see. We'll evaluate the sky when we turn around. I mean, we could just take this climb here. If it's good, we could just pull up and take it. Never mind, we're slightly short of the turning point. Let's see. Yeah, don't rule out a climb here if it's a good cloud. Let's go around to the left for the hell of it. Oh, left might have been the right way to go this time as well. Trimming the plane back, but as I say, you know, it doesn't necessarily make the plane magically better to fly. It does take a bit of the backstick pressure off the joystick, but yeah, ironically, despite having set a bad weather zone, I think the lift might have been better on this part of the flight than it was on the first part, so don't know what that says. It's quite late in the day, isn't it? 5 o'clock. I'm not sure that's, you know, British summertime or whatever, or UTC's UTC, the non-British summertime. These are good climbs. Now, oh yes, we're not quite turning around on the turning point, are we? So we can't do anything about destination. Should we do a bit of practicing turning to the left in cloud? We could do a little bit, I suppose, couldn't we? Good practice. Get a bit low. So what we could do is go high in this cloud as well, and then after this, whatever we do, we're going to have to sort of stay clear of cloud. We can't be going into the side of clouds. Let's decide that. That'll make a little extra interest to the flight. Give it some, as it Chuck Yeager famously said, a fresh purpose for every flight. So yeah, you know. Where's that lift? I'm not at the 7.5 am I by any means, but then again, perhaps we don't want to overdo it. If yeah, let's go in for the TP and have it done, shall we? Yeah, we're 1 trillion cloud here. TP rounded in cloud. Get that trim forward. Gonna stall out the sky if you're not careful. Come on, stick forward. Not too much forward. Dearie me. What am I like? Going back into the lift? Oh dear. No, we're flying's all over the place here, but at least not catastrophically so. Right, okay. So to finish. So now whatever we do, the destination height 1500 feet, okay. That might be off the airfield as well, so I'm not sure how you work all of that, because there's no good kind of finishing fast and very low. If you haven't got the height to get back and land at the airfield, you can land in the field, but that's hardly the point, is it? So let's go anyway. 1500 feet's okay. We shouldn't be far off the airfield, as long as we can identify the airfield pretty quickly afterwards. Bearing in mind, we are going to have to not go through clouds. Steer to the right of this one, and then that big bugger up ahead, I'm going to have to go underneath it, or around it. If I can't go above Vmax rough air. What is Vmax rough air? In German. That's no good, is it? No. All in German. That's a bit curious. How have I managed to do that? Going around it, maybe going around it slightly better, because to push yourself into a very high sync rate just to get underneath is probably not the most efficient thing to do, is it? I think we'd just about be allowed to go around the edge like this. The visibility is rather poor, mind you, so you know, you want to keep out of the side a bit, don't you, like this, and try and keep the visibility okay. And then head back in. Now, of course, the sun is completely obscured. Can't even bloody well see where that big monster of a cloud is. Okay. Very poor viz, isn't it? We should be just about below cloud base, really, shouldn't we? So it's only for a destination height of 1100 feet. Well, I think I'll kind of go for that. I think I will try and not let my destination height get much below 1000, because I need this bit to get back to the airfield. And I suspect, actually, if I get the chance for just a little bit of height, like this, for example, just take it. And you notice the destination light went up to as high as 1600 feet when I was flying slightly there. So it just shows you that the speed you fly at has a certain amount to do with the height it reckons you're going to finish at. But flying at 85 knots, it's got us at about 1400, 1300 feet destination height. So we probably gained a couple of hundred feet, didn't we, just doing that little pull up. So we should be on final glide. It's a bit incredible really, but well, I suppose we are at a good height. We're 18 nautical miles. We're showing how to convert nautical miles to kilometres. If it was normal miles, 5 miles is 8 kilometres, isn't it? So we call that 20. It would be 32, wouldn't it? Which is slightly overestimated, but with nautical miles, so we're probably about 30k out, to be funny. So I suppose from yeah, this height, that's reasonable enough. I don't know what this sort of probably a bit of a weak remains of a cloud or something there. Trim the glider for 19 knots, but it's tricky. Slow it up just a little bit because we're losing our destination height a bit. Eroding it, don't want to erode it too much. Glance at my real world watch. We're okay. We should get our lunch without it being too late. Get that speed back. Now I'm back under the headset. What have we got here? Rockingham Forest. To say the detail on this is rather better than the LX9070. I don't know if any Condor people will be watching this or listening. I must make a little list of things to go back to them with just in case they're not already on their list of things they'd like to do for improvements. I mean, they do a fantastic job, so yeah, I'm really not you know, complaining. But there are several little things. I mean, like when you save a flight, it doesn't save the fact that you might want 2 pilots on it or a certain amount of water ballast. You've got to set those up each time, and it's easy to forget if you go back into a flight to fly it again. Then there's the ability to just actually save a flight at some point, turn the computer off and come back and load that flight at that point and carry on flying it. That would be handy. I need to find out whether the flarm can be made to be quiet if you wanted to, because that was very annoying when I was sharing an aerotow and it just wouldn't stop going off. Find out what's going on with this LX nav thing, not loading properly. I suppose we're stuck with things like German stickers in the glider because that's all part of the VR graphics, and having to do a different set for everybody in different countries would be tricky. Whoops, not paying enough attention to the flying here. Speed back to 90 knots. Oh, that's interesting. Why are we suddenly, our destination height has snuck down to 900? And I don't know why that is. I wasn't paying enough attention. Busy waffling. Don't know know what's caused that to happen, but we have definitely lost destination height to the point where I might like to take a turn or two if I can get them. Never like arriving too low, especially because it's off the airfield, so I've got to land at the airfield is the way I'm thinking. I mean, perhaps I'm wrong to think that, but... And you know, if you could immediately spot the airfield from there, you could probably go in pretty straight. But especially given the graphics limitations of this VR headset on Condor, it isn't necessarily always that easy to spot something, so you've got to faff around and try and work out from your heading and the thing and the map. I mean, this map looks slightly better, as though it might show Husbos better than the LX9070. Just deviating slightly under this kind of dark cloud. Yeah, I could go for that one, of course. It might be better to go for that one if you really want to climb, but that's right. It's a real detour off track, that one, isn't it? You know, and I don't want to be doing too much of that. But I might regret that because that is the obvious good cloud. This is a great big mass of stuff. It may or may not be working very well. I'm still deviating a certain amount. Yeah, I'm going to live dangerously and just do this because I don't want to deviate too much. I only want a little bit of lift, you know. A big cloud, if I could even just sort of pull up and get some back, it might suit me. Can you give me anything? Yeah, I think I'm just going to do this, you see. I'm not going to actually turn. It's a big cloud. I'm just going to try and take what I can out of it. I'll just make a slight course adjustment. I've just got myself a couple hundred feet there, probably, haven't I? That's probably all I really want. There's a cloud up ahead as well, so I'll probably do a similar thing there, or if I really felt badly, I could take a turn under it. Just get back to that kind of speed. Yeah, we probably made about 150 feet perhaps out of that pull up. Just a little bit. Similarly, I'm not going to the full 90 knots now. I don't want to see my destination height eroding too quickly. It's a shame to get this far and then kind of mess it up. And yeah, once you get down to sort of below 3,000 feet, it just gets a little bit trickier to actually connect with a thermal by going by its cloud. You know, it can be that further off from the cloud, and you can waste that much more time kind of trying to search and center. So that's my reasoning anyway. But I am tracking under this fella again for similar reason, just to be safe. How are we doing on the? Oh yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. Again, if there's a bit of lift under this, I'll slow up a bit and try and take a bit out of it. Very nice. This is a nice one. Excellent. Back to 80. Yeah, well that's given us a good 200 feet, isn't it? Yeah. We've got some other little buggers up ahead, but of course we're getting lower and lower all the time. We're very close to finishing. And I ought to So we're heading west at the moment, pretty much. So I would imagine, do we pass over Husballs or very near it? I see something kind of shimmering at the 1 o'clock position, so maybe it's Husballs East we finish. In which case the airport is more or less straight ahead, so I shouldn't have worried. But you know, best to be safe. Trying to be a world beater here. Just get the task done and go and have my lunch. So I'm going to let the speed go on a bit now because I'm a bit more optimistic that I'll spot the airfield pretty much where the task ends. I mean, you know, a proper pilot, a proper commissioner, he'd know all these things. He wouldn't be trying to guess it all like I am. But hey ho, this is my flight. Do how I want to and all that. Oops. Just pressing on this time. Got Husballs here, I think. See, I can't even quite tell what my ETAs are to call them up. But I could call them up and say, you know, Husballs Base Bravo Sierra, 4 kilometers out, approaching from the east, expect to be overhead you in a few minutes on final glide. Really honest, I still haven't ID'd Husballs, and we're virtually at the finish. So, I have not ID'd it. I'd like to think I would have in the real world, but I certainly haven't yet with my VR helmet on. So be that as it may, if I can't ID it, I shall just have to land in a field and apologise to my audience. It's making me want to take a climb back and farmer, but I'm quite low now to be reliably connected with thermal. We're virtually there at the finish. I mean, Husballs should be in view. But I'm really... Oh yes, I think I've got... Yeah, so it should be... We're just going to have to do the finish, turn slightly to the north of west, and hope that we make the airfield. That's all I can think. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be very interesting. I don't think we're going to make it, to be honest. Unless I find a climb and take it now to give myself a little extra chance. But we can land in a field. It's not the end of the world. We'll have got the task done. Let's pull up and take a turn or two, shall we? I'd rather not land in a field. Not that often you get a chance to take a climb like this low down, actually. About a bit. Go in a bit. Of course, the other thing is, if we can get a bit higher, Husballs might be easier to spot, because it's when you're very low down that everything gets very difficult with the limited graphics quality in the VR helmet to actually make things out. And as I'm going round, if I happen to spot it, well, that'll be fine, won't it? Could be dumping our water any minute now as well, because in preparation for landing we won't have much more use for it. Surely you can saw things out from this height. Still can't spot Hasbaz though, I've got to tell you. I think we might need to fly on to our finish and I've done with it, because it gets silly, doesn't it? We've obviously lost time here, but I'm not bothered about that. I want to get the task finished. I'd rather not land in a field. Right, come on, let's just man up and do it, go for the finish. And we'll fly on. Extraordinary lift here. Incredible. Wasn't even in the best of it by the look of it. Well, I'll just fly on through the lift. Oh, we've now got a really remarkably good destination, task finishing height. So surely we can go on and fly Hasbaz after this. Right, get the nose down and get that bloody task finished. I'm going to suddenly spot it, realise I'm ridiculously high, but hey, what the hell. Let's get that finished done. It would be nice as well, actually, if you could just, if you could just also set the sat-nav to tell you how to get to the airfield after the task end. That would be a nice touch. So there's a kind of a glinting over that suggests Hasbaz. I'm going to fly to where I think it is. Right, okay. So we've done that okay. So let's now head to where we think Hasbaz is. There's kind of something slightly shimmering. Condor makes things shimmer when they're a bit airfieldy. Yeah, I think I've got it now. I've finally got it. And yeah, as predicted, I'm way too high. So that's all good. It might have been a bit tricky if I hadn't taken that climber, actually. I think I could have struggled to make the airfield. Right, okay, so let's head to the airfield, land, and we're going to go and have our lunch. Which direction should we land in? Well, strictly speaking, on a task like this, what would they have been doing? What would they have been doing, actually? I mean, the wind was 299. Yeah, they'd probably be coming straight in from here, wouldn't they? So calling long final, so I could sort of say, you know, Hasbaz base Bravo Sierra. I'm half a kilometre out, approaching from the east, doing a long final glide to land towards the west or something like that. And we better dump water. So we'll start dumping that water. And we better do our wolf check. So water, we're dumping it. Undercarriage, we get that down. Do you know, I hate to say it, I was flying that task with the wheel down. I'd forgotten that with an aerial start the wheel will still be down. Oh, that's interesting. So whatever speed we did it with the wheel down. Who cares? It's all good fun. Yeah, it's not real life then. I mean, you know, you just assume that with an aerial start that your wheel is up, but I don't know, you know, it obviously isn't. So there we go. So I'm just going to come in fast, over the brakes, and throw this height away. Looking for planes that won't be there, of course, in Condor. Lovely. Here I can even see the contour of that hill. That is lovely. The one there, just going under the starboard wing. with a copse of trees on top. Like you can even see the sort of the mound, the curvature there, the contours. That's really lovely. Right, let's close the brakes now a bit because our speed's come down and our angle's looking shallow. We want to land long anyway because we're going to go to the clubhouse and get a sandwich. So let's get the speed back to the kind of thing we should be doing. And on a day like this, well, we don't need to be landing at more than sort of 55 knots, really, do we? So as we come back to 55 knots and the angle increases, you can see that we're not the least bit troubled about landing at Husbos. And there's more question I want to do. Can I do naughty things like sort of roll it round on the ground towards the right after I've landed? I don't know. So let's trim it for the speed we want as best we can, as I've already said on this thing. So that's kind of more or less trim for 50 knots, okay. So I'm just going to do a quick F2 check, make sure that wheel is down. So, is that wheel down? Yes, it is. Yes. Yeah, okay, let's go back to F1. Sorry, the noise with the helmet coming off. And get back on the air brakes. You wouldn't be doing all that kind of distraction in a real plane at this stage, but landing, you'd be absolutely focused on your landing. So I'm obviously landing long, so I don't particularly want too much brake at this stage. I'm landing near the Perry track, and in fact I'm almost inclined to close these brakes up a touch. Fly on a bit. I'm going to be very naughty here. This is not the kind of thing you ever do in real life. I just like being cheeky. Really. I'm just going to gently try and bank around the bend a bit. And then put her down sort of near the clubhouse for a sandwich and all that kind of sort of thing. Low height manoeuvring, not a good plan. Right, open lots of brakes. Down on the ground. The wheel was up. The bloody wheel was up. Never mind. Never mind. As you could see from all my banter there, it wasn't as though I forgot about the wheel. I just couldn't quite work out what was wheel up and what was wheel down. What that was about. Oh, that's the wheel up. That's not a wheel symbol there. That's showing you the wheel. No, that's the water banister. Where's the... Oh, that's the wheel one. I looked at the wrong lever. So it was all right. We did fly the flight with the wheel up. We were okay. And we landed with the wheel up because we got all confused about wheel up, wheel down. But hey, this is VR, and it wasn't for want of trying. Right, okay. Well, I hope you enjoyed that flight. And quite interesting, all the cloud flying stuff, wasn't it? Well, I found it interesting anyway. It's one of the great things you can practice in a thing like Condor. So obviously a complete deviation from the real world task, but a lot of fun. And I think it said on this one we'd finished at something like 56 point something knots average. So I think that's probably quite reasonable actually. Yeah, I'll try and post it when I actually make the video to see what we did. Don't think we were quite as fast on the first half, but of course doing those cloud climbs allows you, long straight glides, doesn't it, that you wouldn't otherwise be able to do. So clearly that's going to make life a little easier. I've no idea what happened to the weak weather zone I set. I never really saw it, but then again I was taking great pains to actually not get caught out by it anyway, so we'll see. Okay then, see you on the next flight. I'm not sure how many of these tasks I'll do, because beyond the point it gets a bit repetitive for you, and yeah, a little bit repetitive for me in a way, especially if it's at the conditions, relatively easy with the strong skies. I mean, I could try flying the day from hell I could try that actually. That had an inversion at about 2,500 to 3,000 feet. That could make life interesting. I won't set the conditions as challenging as they were there, because I don't have anything like Chris Gill's skill for dealing with them. But that could be quite interesting. But it was a long flight, so I'd have to break it down into sections. I wouldn't want to do it all in one go. Anyway, that'll do for now, and see you on the next one. And I hope you've been enjoying these waffling cross-country flights. Bye for now.